Got your mask on, I won't get caught in the paper tomorrow.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our first board meeting with our new board. It's November 15th, 2021. I'd like to call this meeting to order. And we will begin with the prayer and land designation, please, which is going to be provided by Trustee Higdon this evening.
Thank you. We would like to acknowledge that we are on the traditional lands of Treaty 8 territory and the homelands of the Métis people. We recognize the land on which we stand as the ancestral land of the indigenous peoples and is common home to everyone in virtue of God, our Creator's gracious gift. Would you bow your heads and do this? In the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Dear Heavenly Father, we come before you this evening as your servants to serve our community, our students, teachers, staff, and we just pray that you would just give us the wisdom and knowledge to make the right decisions for those who have elected us and for our students to ensure that they are prosperous in their educational career, dear God. And we just pray this in your almighty name, in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Trustee Higdon. Moving on now, we move to the adoption of the agenda. We do have the removal of item 9.3 this evening. And we will, Superintendent McGrath will speak to that next in our December meeting. So other than that change, are there any other omissions or additions? And if not, if I could ask for one of our trustees to please move the agenda as presented.
I'll move we adopt the agenda as presented.
Thank you, Trustee Galanzowski. All in favor? So moved. Thank you. We move now to the adoption of the minutes. We have our regular board meeting minutes from September 20th, 2021. We have our special board meeting minutes from October 15th, 2021. And we have our board organizational meeting from October 25th, 2021. So provided that there are no omissions or changes, we will, I would ask for a motion to adopt those minutes as presented.
A motion to adopt the minutes as presented.
Thank you, and all in favor? So moved. We do not have any business arising from the minutes of any of those three meetings. So we move on now to public presentations, and I will pass the floor over to Superintendent McGuigan.
Thank you, Madam Chair. This evening, it's really an honor and a privilege for us, not only with our current Board of Trustees, but a special time for us to recognize and thank a couple of our trustees who have since retired at the end of their last term. And so first of all, I present to you Trustee Robert Yarrow, former Trustee Robert Yarrow. I've had the privilege of knowing Robert for many, many years as a colleague, a teacher colleague when we worked together at Father Mercady High School. He was a teacher at St. John's School when St. John's was up and running, where a superstore is today. And I can tell you firsthand just what an incredible person Mr. Yarrow was and still is. His commitment to students, what he did each and every day with the students in the classroom, and observing that and seeing how he was a model in Catholic education for us, for the community, and for the students he taught. And it wasn't enough that after a really strong, successful career in teaching, he decided to further that knowledge and take it into the role of a trustee and to continue to serve the community and to serve the people of Fort McMurray and families. So he's a credit to Catholic education. He was a credit and a blessing to us. And I think it's only fitting that we take this opportunity, COVID, the way it was, and we could never do this in person. And tonight we have that opportunity, as much as we possibly can, to thank him in a public presentation. And so certainly on behalf of all the staff, the students and the parents in the community, I thank you, Robert, for your gift of service for Fort McMurray Catholic education. And I'll turn that over to you, Madam Chair, and any trustees who would like to say something.
Go ahead.
I will speak last.
Okay. Robert, it was a pleasure to serve with you for the past 4 years. I loved every insight you had and your travels, because we kind of traveled through you, or I did, traveled vicariously through you. And just thank you so much for your wisdom and the gentle manner that you brought to our table. And have the best retirement ever. Actual retirement.
Yeah, Robert, I can't thank you enough for your time here. I only saw you in the hallways at Father Merck when I was a student there, but all my fellow students spoke so highly of your class. Then getting to know you a bit more as a trustee, I always loved hearing about your travels and your plans to travel. I'll definitely miss your input, miss your face in mass. And I'm the new TIBA rep, so I have big shoes to fill. So, yeah, so I don't think I'll ever live up to your reputation, but thank you so much for your dedication to this division and to Catholic education. We'll miss you.
I would like to echo the sentiments of my fellow trustees. I feel like I learned so much from you over the 4 years that we were on the table together, and I appreciated your calm manner, your advocacy for Catholic education and for the students. I hope that I can, help carry some of that wisdom that you've imparted, and you might still receive the odd text or phone call from me. So, we're not gonna, say how old you are now that you're like retired, but we hope that you thoroughly enjoy your world travels and your time with, with your cat still as well. So, I just have a little presentation for you. Does this work, ma'am?
Yep.
Thank you. And we would like to get a picture with everybody
Oh, yeah.
here as well, so, all right, and thank you so much for your service.
Hey, Robert, I never got a chance to thank you, buddy. First time I met you, I was running for council, you chased me out of St. John's parking lot. That's only a joke, actually.
So
my
we'll
kids
do
were
a
getting
group
baptized.
picture up after, if that's okay?
Sure.
Yeah, perfect, okay, thank you.
You've done lots of work with the parish too, Robert. And done lots with the kids around the parish, that's what I remember you as. And glad I kept to yourself. And you're right, did a lot of travel, but if I had your money, I wouldn't be here tonight, I'd be still traveling.
I'd just like to thank everyone for their kind words tonight. I did enjoy my 4 years and a bit as a school trustee. I did learn an awful lot about education from a very different point of view from being a teacher involved with the Economic Policy Committee, both local and provincial level. It provides a much more different view of how the school system actually operates. And I would also like to thank all the district staff. I don't think people realize how important these people are to how we do our job as trustee. Whenever we come to our meeting, everything's done. We can concentrate on actually running the meeting and not having to worry about much of anything else. All the assistance in booking reservations for us, booking travel. It's the staff who really make the job of trustee much easier than it probably would be otherwise. So I would like to just express my appreciation to all the school district staff, both here at CEC and in the schools, for all the hard work that they do. And also I'd just like to say, I don't think, one of the things I don't miss about being a trustee is all the COVID emails. I really think that the public doesn't really have much of an idea of how COVID has actually affected schools and school divisions across the province. People don't realize the burden it has created for administration, for school district staff. And I'd really like to commend all of those, our principals who are here, for all the phone calls they made related to COVID, for all the policies that have had to be put into place. It has really created a burden that has been well dealt with by the school division. So thank you very much for all the hard work that you do.
Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Madam Chair, next up is pretty special for me, this particular individual. Our current counselor, Keith McGrath, and former trustee of 17 years, our longest serving trustee, most recently, arrived in Fort McMurray, I think back in 1980, I think. But since that time, he came to Fort McMurray as an individual from Newfoundland with the design purpose from his heart that he was coming to be of service to people and to make life better for people. He did that from the day one, from the time he entered Fort McMurray and was part of this community. And it's something that he went about it unnoticed, not asking for anything, and it was just who he is and the type of person he was and the heart that he has. And since he became a trustee with Fort McMurray Catholic, he was able to then take his vision of what he wanted to do and support, and with his focus was always to support and do whatever he could for the children in the community and the children he served. And when you think about Catholic education and you think about what we're all called to do, it's someone from Trustee McGrath, former Trustee McGrath, that he lived that every day, and he was a model of that, and he led by example in everything that he did, from Santa's Anonymous to Kids Forever, anything that was a cause that was to help students and to help children to make life better for them. He was front and center there, and his hand was up, and he was the first one to always do something to help the people in this community. Fort McMurray Catholic Schools will always know that as a trademark of who we are and why we exist in the community. But when you have a trustee such as Trustee McGrath, who takes that and lives it and breathes it every day and what he does for people in this community, people sometimes don't understand that, and they don't see that. But I've seen it since 1980 when he came here, when I first got to know him in the early 80s, and have witnessed it ever since. And so I'm just forever grateful for my opportunity to get to know Keith McGrath the person, not Keith McGrath the trustee. That was an added bonus for me. And I know he's still serving the community. He's re-elected as a council member, and he will continue to serve this community to the best of his ability. And he will make sure that Fort McMurray continues to be a great home for everybody who lives here. So, Madam Chair, I turn it over to yourself. My heart is with you.
Thank you. And again, I will save my words for last.
All right. Keith McGrath made this whole 8 years one big adventure. Sometimes it was like Survivor. But it has been a good adventure, and I'm ever so grateful for having to be able to sit around this table with you. And your wisdom shines through in the most unique way. And a lot of, that is a compliment, that is a good thing. And I have taken away a lot of lessons from you being your colleague and your peer at this table. And I just thank you for your service, and only good things ahead for you.
Yeah, Keith, I remember 2017, first being elected. I was terrified. I had no idea kind of what I was getting myself into. And my eyes were on you, truly. I saw the experience you brought to the table, the years of service to Catholic education, and I was always watching. I was always looking up to you. There were so many times where we'd be in the middle of a discussion, and just this sort of wisdom bomb would come from Keith McGrath that can only come from the experience you brought to the table and the heart that you have for the students and for this district. So sad to see you not run for re-election, but you've always got my support in the city, and I appreciate your work and appreciate your example and your service to Fort McMurray Catholic.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, no, I think just for myself, knowing Keith for a long, long time through golf, but just through seeing him in the city as well. And I know he's doing work with my community now, and I think knowing Keith the person is really important. I think he put in a lot of years of service, and I remember seeing him at many, many different things. So I think thank you, Keith, for your support and also for giving back.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Well,
Keith. Sorry. I have a word or two.
Sorry, Jason.
So sorry, Jonathan, would you want?
I don't know you overly well.
I know
You just recently-
I know you well enough to know that you meant well, and you're a young guy. I know your folks, and your wife's folks. I know you come from a good family, and you're surrounded by people that care about kids. And all I know is this, Jonathan, you've been given an opportunity in life to look after kids, and for me, this was never about politics. This boardroom here is probably the safest place that a kid could ever have, and I've never seen politics in this place. One thing that I admire about this district, we've been through many storms in these doors, where there's people in the country try to blow up Catholic education. And I wasn't always a big saint of, I drank when I shouldn't have, and probably represented the district at functions where I should have been sober. My only thing to pass on to a young guy like you, what happens in this district, where we have a big indigenous population, they should be respected. But not special, because they're not looking for a handout. I've worked with them all. And I'm sorry, Kathy, but I'm going to keep going. Wigan, I've laid water lines and sewer lines. There's two guys here in this room that struck me, and not because Sheldon beat me in my first election. But when you see a guy like Sheldon and a guy like yourself, yeah, you make a few bucks, but Sheldon was down in Holy Trinity doing cartwheels for the kids. You're at Father Mercury, and my first graduation, all I could hear was the kids with Wigan. And when I see the constant message, whether it's Luann or Lisa or Sheldon, principals, for me, when I left home in the morning, school was safe. The only place that never had an alcoholic in my life, watching people getting beat. And foster kids, I think there was 82 in our house. So school was a safe place, and you know what? For McMurray, 40 years later, there's no difference. It's actually worse. You go up to Holy Trinity, and in the nighttime, they're using that place as a garbage bin and a stock car. There's only going to be someone killed in the parking lot. But Francois can't be everywhere. You can't put a gate everywhere. But what I'm getting at is that each one of you trustees, this is never about politics. The mental health of these kids, when I first started, I think we had 3,200 kids. The neighborhood was at 7,000. It's because of guys like Sheldon, Tash, Francois, George, the leadership team. Trustees never got in the business of getting in the day-to-day operations. I've always had a bit of a burn me sack about I look at the age group of the district, and I think about longevity. Just some guys down in the basement the men and women that put their time in, but that's an operational thing. Never got into it. On the 20th, I thought that I was mad with, I was pissed off with George and Kathy, because that was my day. That was my last meeting. I couldn't get in on it. You know what I mean? I know I want to get a few words in. Who wouldn't? I'm trying to run for re-election. Right? You know what I mean? Don't you think that these guys weren't bolstered up in City Hall with their gifts before they were running their election? But you know what? I finished out this term the way I started. In 2004, I was so sick of losing to Sheldon. I said to my wife, I was out there running the crew of 1,500. This guy was looking after, 100 kids? And he was stressed out. I was looking after 1,500 guys on site. 4 or 5 shifts, and this guy's, so I said to my wife, this is true, because on July 3rd of 1985, I came here to this door, you can check it, I think it was right after a long weekend, and I think I met Dan McCausey. I said, Dan, I got an idea, you know, this program called Men for Others that we done, because we skipped, this was our religion merit. So we volunteered with the seniors from grade 9 to grade 12, and that's where we got our marks. And we done it, first of all, because we didn't have to write our exams. And therefore we got to hang out with the seniors and the blind people and stuff, and then we got into cadets. But Catholic education has been under attack since my time. And if you had a few loose lips around these tables, it would be blown up here. And this girl right here, well, Rob McDonald, what year did you come to town?
2000.
Yeah, so you got a person that's been in the community for 21 years. He's amazing at keeping us out of trouble. Because don't you think there's been a few things in this district, we're not all perfect. I know we're good Catholics, and there's nobody more judgmental than a good Catholic. Nobody. Nobody. But somehow, the book is going to have to be rewritten. It's okay to be gay. Okay? And that's life, it's 2021. And it's all right, because the Lord loves everybody. And that's when I, you know, residential schools, you got all this stuff coming up, you have to protect Catholic education. You don't think that you're gonna sit in those chairs, and it's not all days. Francois is over there, someday he's gonna retire. You're gonna need another money guy. There's no guy in town who looks after a dollar bill. I've been here for 17 years. I would say that the money that I seen wasted here in 17 years, I could pick up in the palm of my hand compared to across the street. And I was privileged because I served both. I never tried to start getting elected for both offices. I'd take the time at that. You know, but that's one mountain at a time. But you can say that I have never been as happy serving people as I do with this district. And I remember one time, a couple of times, I wanted to be the chair. And I got a call from a buddy of mine, Wendell McKenna. He said, what in the name of Jesus did you ever think about doing chair? You know, you get the district in trouble every day. And I had thought about that, and I said, yeah, no, maybe he's right. I can go down there and upset 50 years of, because you'll see some trustees have been trustees for 40 years. I figure after 17, that's good enough. We go let some other people in. And I can tell you that I've sat around this table with Dan McCausey, Kim Jenkins, George McGuigan. All three of them had a different way. They all cared about the kids. But McGuigan, you were special because you looked after kids like me. And that's why, you know, I assume that you know, one of the families would the scholarship. I haven't got a name for it, but there'll be a scholarship here as I committed to. I didn't want to call it after myself because people think I'm trying to get reelected. So I thought about a few names, but I'll have a name for you, Megan, and the write up. You do the write up, and I'll get the name. But all I can say is that you know, George, you've been wonderful in my life, my wife, my kids. Francois. Yeah, this was a great run. Actually, I suppose with the exception of the Klimke family, this has been my longest run. You know, Klimke's run the life for 20 years, and the Catholic School Board did too. Thank you. And it's too bad, George. I've been sober for 9 months, but because of his brother, murdered. And the story with his brother, you guys all knew I grew up at the Alcan, and they put me through Canada, buried my dad, and I came out one night, and his brother was in my garbage can. I said, well, move over, man, that's my place. He said, no way, bro. And you look at that guy today, you know, chief of people, went out and developed some kind of gas fields and stuff on his own. But they all came from Father Mercury. I worked with your dad, tailings. So I would never say anything about anybody running for politics, but when I called around one day and I thought of you, and then you know the other guy, I thought I'm all Delmar. But I think it's time for one of these young fellas to run. And I told you, George, well, I don't get involved in that. I said, well, I do. When I made that call, they told me you were run, that was it. I said, you're in good hands. I told you that day when you put your, because at the end of the day, you're no different than that guy that was afraid to go to school, the guy that needed a place. Lots of indigenous kids, they get singled out because of the stigma. There's lots of white kids, there's lots of colored kids. You go to Holy Trinity, there's 72 kids from different countries, 72 countries go to school at Holy Trinity. So I say we gotta slack off a little bit on our beliefs, or not we'll just ruin ourselves down the road. Now Francois, he's not a man of very many words, but Francois, I'd say that you've been a great addition to my life because you taught me what a dollar bill between. Don't forget when I first came here, I wore sweatpants. Terry Langus took me to the back room. That was the last time I wore sweatpants. You can't go around, he said, you can't go around with your arse hanging out when you're an elected official. Okay. And Sheldon's dad gave me some good advice a few weeks back. He said, shut your mouth, put your signs up, you should be first place, but if every time you open up your mouth, you're going to drop a few. And I don't mind that because even though one kid went back and forth, my 3 kids graduated here from Holy Trinity. I got one kid out in Vancouver that looks after the homeless, and I just seen last weekend. That's where she gets it from. I got another daughter that I can't see too much about because we'll probably see her this weekend. And nothing to do with me either. My kids made their own way. Spencer, hopefully Natasha or Sheldon or Webb, you give them a job here in a year or 2. That's the perfect story. I'll share this with you, and that'll be the last one. My son Spencer started the Father of Turcotte with 5 kids. And those 6 kids are living in Edmonton, the place I got them, finished after last year's university. And they want to come home and teach. I got daughters that they don't have the same friends they had last Friday. But the boys, they got it right. They got each other, you know. And as luck would have it, all their mothers work for on the 7th floor. So whatever happens in Keith's life, they're talking about that 7th floor. Anyways, that's good enough for your time. And John, I'm not looking at you because when I know Kelsey, I don't have to look at him because me and him would probably fought more than anybody around this table. But I know y'all got big hearts. But all I can say to you is this: what goes on in this district, you protect the kids. You don't need to protect Francois or Natasha or any of these. They can look after themselves. You know, there's the elders we need to look after the kids, and if you get that right as a public servant, look at me, I'm a prime example. I'm the only guy that got my seat back. You know why? Well, first of all, I shut my mouth. And people remember what you did, not remember what you said. Remember what you did. Because I said a lot of stupid stuff, hey, Paul. And by like
That's a trick question, I feel like.
But anyways, guys, I was a bit overcome on the 20th, only because I thought, that prick McGuigan, you know, look, who did they build up at City Council the week before? Somebody, right? Somebody I'm trying to beat, wasn't it? Sheldon, you know how it works. Don't forget, you got a principal there. That's probably after, I don't know, these guys could be elected for the rest of their life. You know why? You look around that council table today, you got a mayor that he got elected because he looked after the kids. Kids are the connection to the community. If you look after them, you'd be okay if you look after them. If you don't, to see guys that like myself, that look after you the other way, the old-fashioned way. You know? And I would say the man the closest to the cross that I've seen here, and I've gone through a few trustees, a few people, and actually, I don't think I've ever had a bad one. You know, we've had a few arguments. Mrs. Carberry, she put me in line more than once. I talked to Jim before and we sent him over supper. But their friendships come out of this too, that's the big thing. And are you live with this?
Yeah.
So Mrs. Krishner, you won't have any worries about me doing double duty anymore. And I guess that's probably going to be the area of other people, right? Because at the end of the day, the good man upstairs give us some help. And people that get elected, they don't get elected to serve their own house, their own people. people are pretty wise to that. And I don't know how you end up like you did, but you remind me of a kid like myself. Threw your name in the hat, threw your name in the hat. If she works out, she do. But you now you got the gift. And that gift is to make sure that you look after the kids. And these guys look after you anyways. So a little gift there.
I feel like I don't have
Well,
any.
just a second.
I don't have any wise words now because, you know.
Well, you said them all.
You've
You
used
said
them all.
already. I use your time too. A lot of people use that. Just ask the wife. One of my biggest downfalls. So Sheldon. Oh, that's right. I like touch that. When you got a Holy Trinity, I thought it was like talk to the mic.
All right, I'm going to
just
now
wait.
say,
Okay.
thank you very much for,
Just a second.
you,
I don't want no trouble.
you have forgotten more, I'm sure, than most of us around the table here will ever learn. You wear your heart on your sleeve, and your service to this district, to the city, but most especially to all of the kids. You do every decision you ever made was out of love for the children, and it's something that I aspire to, and I hope that we can live up to. You know, the many years that you've given, and I'm sure the many more years you're going to be giving to the community. So
And I think because of my service here, I've gotten away with a little bit. You know, I got a free ride. I think it was February 21st, 2000. It was 21st, 21. I got my fourth kick at the cat. I was laid for dead. I think some of them times where people say it's karma, but I also I forgot one big piece. George and Francois and Jenkins, I think at the time, bought the RCMP. They had we got funding from industry and the board, and Francois worked it out. We had an officer go around our schools, and I think if I could leave you with something, if George can correct me, I think the first day them two officers, Francois, cleaned up, I don't know, $40,000 or $50,000 worth of dope in the parking lot. And also, that the kids were safe, and that was a program that you probably want to champion our MLAs to get back for you, because kids need to trust the RCMP because they are good people, but everybody's not good, and if you can calm that down in their younger years, and you don't let the villains get at them, then the kids got a better chance. But anyways, did I run out my dime, Sheldon?
I
This
was
one for your dad.
thinking
For your
1
dad.
minute. I was thinking 1 minute for every year of service.
Oh, that's
So
good.
I think
I
yeah,
know.
I think you.
Oh, sweet.
And this so on behalf of
man.
the Fort
Wow.
McMurray Board, Catholic Board of Education, we present this to you as our thanks for your many years of service, recognizing that you are probably very familiar from the inside of this picture, but it's just a small token of our appreciation for everything that you've done for our students. Thank you. Okay, it's a little anticlimactic, Keith, but as well, this is a long service award presented to you for your 15 years of, your 5 terms of service on behalf of the Alberta School Board Association.
Oh, she must have been a hard time to bring that one up.
And so there's this one, and as well, there is a long service award from
The
the
check,
Alberta,
Francois.
from the
Check.
Alberta Catholic School Board Association, but that one will be, they'll be doing those presentations in February. Hopefully we can do it all in
Yeah,
person.
no, I really appreciate it, guys. This is,
Thank you very much.
as Kelsey can say, as the only, oh shit, look, I got a teardrop on that gown already. That's I was the president of that golf club. And 25 of us put $10,000 into to get the first loan of $1 million. And it almost got me divorced because I never told the wife. Rodney St. Peter told the wife, actually, one of your own students, that I got $12,000 and it took 2 years to pay it off. It was beautiful. Pretty big.
All right, thank you very much.
By the way, this is the longest board meeting I ever had too, by the way.
If I could ask the trustees and Superintendent McGrath if we could stand and take a picture with our past
Alumni.
members of the board, please. We now move on to item number 7, ownership linkages, of which we do not have any. So we move on to our board presentations. We would like to thank our staff from the following 2 schools for hanging out, for hanging around, and we are looking forward to hearing from you both. These are our first board presentations we've had now for over a year. And I can't tell you how grateful we are as a board to actually be able to hear from you. So we first present, oh sorry, I pass that to you. My apologies.
No problem, Madam Chair. First up, I'll introduce to you Principal Luann Demers-Noble, and she'll introduce her Vice Principal, and the floor is yours, ladies.
Okay, where would you guys like us to present from?
About 2 feet ahead of where you are.
Okay. First of all, I want you guys to take note of our masks and our moccasins. Today's Rock Your Mocks
Yes.
Day. Pretty exciting. So, good evening, everyone. Good evening, trustees. This is so exciting to be part of your first trustee meeting. This is great. Natasha, could you please note the time and give me my 10-minute mark so we don't go over? Thank you. All right, well, we are here to present to you all. Oh, I would like to introduce myself. I'm Luann Demers-Noble. I'm the very proud principal at Elsiana Catholic School. This is Catherine Campbell, who is our vice principal, and I'd like to just let you know and remind you that we are history makers, being the first principal at Elsiana Catholic School and the first vice principal at Elsiana Catholic School, which is exciting. That's exciting. We're very proud. All right, well, we are going to show you guys today our school assurance plan. In order to share our assurance plan with you, we want to go over the process that we take to create our assurance plan. And so one of the ways we do this is we get feedback from our teachers through professional growth plan meetings. The ATA requires all certificated staff to complete a professional growth plan at the beginning of each school year and continuously update it throughout the year. So if you take a look at the yellow sheet in your folder, you will see there's an information sheet about professional growth plans, just in case you're unsure about what exactly they are and what teachers are expected to do. I do apologize for the very tiny font. So these professional growth plan meetings they happen 3 times a year. And their document, their professional growth plan, is a live document that they are required to continuously update. So when we started talking about assurance plans last year, we began thinking about ways that we can engage our stakeholders and get some feedback from our teachers. So we thought professional growth plan meetings would be a great place. And we gained so much valuable feedback from our teachers when we have these conversations. If you take a look at the red sheets there, these are our professional growth plan, PGPs I'll just call them from now on, conversation guides. And we use these to keep our conversation with our teachers going. We have 1 hour per teacher. We book subs for 3 days currently with our size of a staff. And we have some snacks and we have some decorations. We make it a nice, kind of comfy environment, and we have some great conversations. I look forward to professional growth plan meetings every year with our teachers, and Catherine is part of our conversation. We have both of us in there, and we really get to chat about what is important to them, what goals do they have, what are they doing as far as Indigenous education goes, how's their religious programming coming along, what's their extracurricular commitment, and we always also get down to how are you doing, and that is probably the best part of our conversations. And we have, many of our teachers end up crying in those meetings because they're having some hard times, or we find out things that are happening in their lives that they might not have shared with us. So these are just so important, and we wanted to share that this is part of our process that helps us create our school assurance plan. So now if you take a look at the white sheets that we've provided in there, this is a copy of our school assurance plan. And we won't go through them. We're going to kind of take a look at each of the segments in this little part here.
So we've tried really, really hard to keep everything we do this year focused on this document, on our assurance framework, because it's really easy for us in schools to get distracted by all the other things. We're constantly getting emails about this guest speaker, that guest speaker, try this new pilot program, but we're really trying to honor the goals that we've laid out here, which means honoring the feedback the teachers have given us and honoring the work that they've been doing with the students so far. So on our PLF Fridays, of course, the division is providing us with awesome PD related to these goals, but we're also trying really hard to keep our Friday morning time focused on working on these. So we don't just use that time as staff meeting. We, every Friday morning, go through pieces of our assurance plan, and we're making sure we're providing kind of in-house developed PD or accessing PD from elsewhere to help our staff achieve these goals that we've laid out in our assurance framework. Our staff is amazing, and they are so appreciative of all of the PD we've provided. And even on the occasions when we've offered things after school on a non-PLF, we have everybody signing up excited to attend. So it's been really amazing so far. So our first goal that we've really been focusing on is faith development. Of course, that's central to everything we do. We found our teachers were really confident in teaching religion class, in planning liturgies, but they were feeling a little unsure about making sure they were laying the foundation of Catholic education for our students. And although we have this amazing Growing in Faith, Growing in Christ resource, it's very overwhelming. It's a very big program. And what we didn't realize, but came to realize through our conversations, is that because our school is so new and a lot of our teaching staff is quite young, they didn't know that work had been done prior to this on prioritizing the outcomes in growing in faith, growing in Christ, and coming up with the teaching scope and sequence. So right now, we're just kind of focused on developing that intentional focus. Here's this beautiful resource. What is most important? And giving our staff kind of the opportunity to just become comfortable and confident and that they can deliver this quality programming. So right now, we're just we've gotten through the long-range planning, through the prioritization piece. The teachers are now all implementing growing in faith, growing in Christ in the classroom. And as we move forward, our next phase of that goal is to open the doors between the home and school, because there's an amazing at-home component for growing in faith, growing in Christ too, but we're not quite there just yet. Okay. Literacy is something else that really our eyes were opened during our PGP meetings. We were sure that reading was going to be at the top of every teacher's list of areas they needed to work on. But our teachers are actually feeling quite confident with reading. We were really fortunate at our school. We had these beautiful new Fontes Sempanel classroom resources before everybody else. So we got to kind of explore them, dig a little deeper. We feel like we're pretty confident in the reading program right now, but what we didn't realize is that teachers were feeling like they needed support with writing. So as soon as we heard that, we did some research, we tried to find some best practices in terms of writing instruction, and so again, this is where we're starting now on introducing this it's a resource, but it's also a model of pedagogy of how we can get better at writing instruction and building our kids' writing skills, because obviously they're going to need those throughout their entire school career.
And I have to add and give a shout out to Catherine. Catherine has been such a strong literacy leader in our school, and she should be commended for that, and as well even in our district. So we're doing some really great things. Numeracy, this was another area that we knew that things were not great in the numeracy area, but through our conversations with teachers and through our MIPI results, we realized that the number sense for students is really not great. So this is an area that we are definitely putting more support into. We were very fortunate to have some boxcars and one-eyed Jacks PD already, and that is the dice and cards games, and they go back years and years. I used them when I was a math teacher, but they are great, and we've had actually 2 different PDs, one just at the end of last year and one this year. So we are getting some good, the teachers to have some great ideas so that they can better our students in the number sense area and other areas. And we definitely know that this is an area that we do need to focus on through our conversations with our teachers. All right. Our next one was mental health and wellness. And this is a students and staff focus goal. Through our conversations with our teachers, we realized that we do have some struggles as far as mental health and wellness, how feeling overwhelmed teachers are feeling. So we all know that if our staff are not well, then our students will suffer. So this is something we are focusing on. We do some really cool Apple challenges with our teachers. Throughout every month we do like a water challenge and then have a fun little prize, and we've been doing lots of little things like that to keep staff, happy and engaged. And we also did a book study. There was a presenter in August at our PD that did Hacking Teacher Burnout, and so we purchased that book for all the teachers on our staff, and we're doing a chapter a month, which is really great. So we're doing lots of gratitude and mindfulness. Every PLF has a section on that for our PLF there for our teachers.
And our final goal on our assurance framework is indigenous infusion. And while we noticed that indigenous infusion and support was kind of interwoven throughout the entire division assurance framework, we wanted to give a separate goal to this because it's something that we as a school really believe passionately in, and it's something that came out of our PGP conversations again. And collectively, our teachers felt like we were doing a really good job of celebrating the cultural aspects of our different Indigenous cultures, but they wanted to learn more, and they wanted to dig deeper, and they wanted to pass that learning on to their students as well. So what we've really spent a lot of time in our PLF Friday mornings this year is looking at indigenizing the curriculum. So we had teachers identify areas in the curriculum for all 4 cores and religion of where they felt that some sort of Indigenous content would be good to incorporate. We've been kind of vetting and seeking out authentic resources, working with our amazing liaison to make sure that they're appropriate for the classroom, and just implementing this Indigenous infusion across all subject areas. So teachers are really excited about that. We're even doing it in phys ed. We've had some amazing games and activities there. So all in all, we're pretty proud of where we are here. We have a long ways to go, but everyone's feeling really confident and really proud of the work we've been able to achieve in this area so far. I didn't, well, you told me it was 10 minutes.
No, sorry, I have to add that we've also been doing the RMWB 6-week challenge, but we did it over the course of the 4 months. So we still have 2 more weeks to do. So we've been spending a good quality of time each PLF doing it, and it's so great. And we were fortunate enough to get, don't tell my teachers, that we have the little gift things that the RMWB was giving out. So all my teachers are going to get one when we do our last one on the last PLF in December. So very exciting. So we, of course, would love to hear any feedback that you guys have, because you are also stakeholders for us and for our assurance plans. So if you have any feedback, we'd love it. Comments, questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you both very much. So I will pass the floor off to my fellow trustees. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I just had one question on, I just thought this was pretty cool, but what's an Indigenous infusion chat? What would that look like?
What are you doing in your classroom to show your students that we honor and appreciate the Indigenous cultures in our area? Again, going beyond that, oh, we did Orange Shirt Day, right? Where are you including it into our science curriculum? Some of our teachers right now are looking at sky science and stories about the constellation creations from Indigenous cultures, and then comparing us to the Greek and Roman cultures. So looking for those ways to move beyond, it's not going outside the curriculum, but enhancing the curriculum to add those perspectives.
Thank you.
Just quickly, being a dad of small kids in grade 1, K and E, have you guys noticed in your chats with teachers just a gap in literacy in that age group? Because I know I've heard a little bit, but from these professional growth plans, what has the feedback been on the topic of literacy in kids? Because I know with the pandemic and everything else we went through, I know it's a big topic right now. So do you guys have any feedback on that potentially?
The gap is definitely bigger with our kind of grade 2 and 3 students, but there is for sure. EP and K is pretty much where we would expect them to be. Some of our grade 1 students are demonstrating that gap, and others are miles above where we would expect them to be. So we don't see a consistent dip in literacy results there, but definitely a little bit more with the older kiddos.
And writing is a big issue that we've seen. So I think our teachers, when we did offsite learning, they were able to do, like, our teachers did guided reading still in small groups virtually, but it was hard to do authentic writing stuff. So that is where we're seeing the gaps.
Okay.
Yeah.
Are you done, Jonathan?
Yeah, that's just.
I have so many thoughts. so many thoughts, not so many questions, because what a great way to lay it out. And so it really gives us a sense, because we haven't done presentations like this in this way, right?
No, this is new.
And so while I love hearing from the children, this really, I think, gives us such a good a good picture of what's happening in your school without spending a day in your school, which I wouldn't because I'm not a teacher. And
That's
yes, I
such a
might.
quick overview, but at least it gives you a little bit of
It is,
insight,
and it covers what's happening for students, but it also covers, which we don't hear a lot, and we haven't, your people,
Mhm.
your staff, and we're worried about your staff, all of our staff, and so I guess what I really love is how you're bringing them all together and making it not just about. I mean, it is about the kids, but it's about the whole school, your whole school community. What do you think? I guess this is for Luann. The Indigenous infusion goal, love, because we have so much truth reconciliation work to do. Is that something? Is that something that that would be, or you're introducing, or gently introducing, or subliminally introducing to the rest of the schools through the Indigenous, your Indigenous liaison, or not liaison?
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Well, so
I've used up all my words today.
the Indigenous infusion part is definitely something for our teachers more as a principal at my school. However, Catherine, I have to give another shout out. Catherine did a great job. Teachers listed areas that they were struggling with. Grade 1 science, colors. How do I indigenize this? So Catherine found resources for them, and then that's how we spent our next PLF. Now, I'm going to share those things with our liaisons and our principals when I do my little principal chat at our principal meeting, and then hope that they will share those with their teachers. Because there's some great opportunities and amazing resources out there, but there's so many resources out there right now, and it's hard to find good, authentic, really just good caliber ones, not we don't want tokenism and that kind of stuff.
Right, we're
Local
trying to
is
find as
fantastic.
local
Yeah.
as possible. We're kind of workshopping it a little bit because, I vetted them in terms of our curriculum, and then we showed some to our liaison. She vetted them in terms of appropriateness. Now our teachers on the next PLF day, they've all committed to trying one of these activities or lessons or units that we've tried, and come back and do a little mini report. So then our teachers can help us decide, is this something that's worth sharing, or was this way too beyond grade 1, for example? So.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. And what I really, I just lost my words. I just like it, okay? I appreciate, I know what I was gonna say. Is in a big dream that we wouldn't even have to have Indigenous fusion as a priority, because it would just be.
It would be there.
It would be there.
Yes.
It would be infused.
Yes.
It's not an add-on.
Yeah.
It's not extra. It is.
And we're
And-
seeing that the teachers want that.
They
It's
do.
just the kind of fear of not knowing where to start and not
Yeah,
wanting to
for sure.
take a misstep,
Yeah.
and the time too.
You
So
wanna
if we
do
can
it right,
provide
not
the time,
fast.
yeah,
Mhm.
if we can provide that time for them,
No.
that's great.
That's excellent. Thank you. Good. Good enough.
Trustee Hoffman? So, first off, I love the word infusion. So I think that's so much more than education, right? It's yeah. To bring it into every teacher and every student, so that it's just part of every day, I think is awesome. And that as I listen to you, I'm thinking, wow, they're like piloting. You're piloting this whole new way, right? For
Let our teachers hear that.
Okay.
They might be
Oh,
overwhelmed.
okay. Sorry. We'll just stick with infusion.
Yeah.
Pioneering.
Yeah.
No,
Anyways,
it's-
I think it's exciting and it's awesome, and recognizing that you all have so much on your plates right now, yet knowing that we can't just go status quo, right? Like we can't just wait for things to go back to normal. And so I think more than anything else, I just want to say our appreciation for everything that you do, for the teachers, for the students, and hopefully you're able to look after your own, mental health and well-being as well, because we know that it's our leaders. It's our leaders need it in order for our teachers to have it, in order to bring it down for our kids and then their families. So thank you for everything that you do, day in and day out.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
We
and
could've
we can't
spoke
wait to
forever.
get back
We
into
could've
the
spoke.
schools to come and visit you
Yes,
with your
absolutely.
celebrations. So
Yeah.
Us too.
thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Superintendent McGrath.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Next up will be Good Shepherd School. And I'll introduce Principal Sheldon Germain, and he'll introduce his partner. It's interesting to note, Madam Chair and all trustees, by the time the end of this school year, you should have a clear picture of the school's assurance plans tied in with our division insurance plan. So you're going to see a common theme throughout the year, and we're doing this on purpose for the very reason that Trustee Galanzowski kind of alluded to a few minutes ago. So,
all right, thank you, sir. And first of all, congratulations to you guys in your re-election and your election. It's quite an honor as you got to honor Rob and Keith, and that was great. And so congratulations and thank you for serving us trustees. It's an honor to speak to you guys today. My name is Sheldon Germain. I'm the 4th year principal at Good Shepherd. This is very intelligent, very lovely, very kind Joanna Langevin. She's our vice principal, 2nd year. And our presentation will not have the same PowerPoint skills displayed because I type like this, but we'll see if we can try to get it. And to George's point, to Mr. McGuigan's point, we are based under the same insurance model, so what we do at Good Shepherd all rolls up into what you guys will see as your district goals. Our first thing I want to share with you is our mission statement, which is lead like a shepherd. And that means so much to the staff, students, and school family, that everything we do at Good Shepherd is linked to the way in which Jesus wants us to lead here on earth and as a lighthouse leader in East School. And that mission statement was made last year, and it was our theme for last year, so that the kids really got to understand what Catholic education is all about and what being a leader in East School is all about. It allows us to basically blend the two. Some of our highlights is we basically, just to give you guys kind of an update on our school, we are an Eat to 6 school. We often use the hashtag blessed with the best. And when I say blessed with the best, I mean I feel like our teachers are top notch, our students are top notch, and our families are top notch. The support we get from our families is unreal in terms of lunch programs, going out and skating with our kids, going out helping us in the park, our Apple School initiative, making baked goods, doing all sorts of things. And we really are lucky, when I say blessed with the best, with a collaborative professional learning team. Our scores on our MRA, we have a measurement tool through Leader in Me. It's called the MRA, and we've tested it twice. Our staff satisfaction score is 89%. It is well beyond any other Lighthouse school. It's above the norm for Lighthouse schools, it's above the norms. We also score for staff fulfillment, 94%, and teacher efficacy, 86%. So basically our staff is saying each and every day they believe they can make a difference in the children at Good Shepherd, and they work as a team to make sure that we achieve that. Our parent survey, one thing we did drop on, which is totally noted, and we're actually glad we dropped on this one. Our parent engagement dropped from 96% to 89%. Parents actually told us we really missed being in the school for events, and that was due to, of course, COVID restrictions that you've mentioned tonight. One of the nicest things that led to our planning this year is a parent said to me, "You know what, Mr. Germain, the only thing I regret is not putting my child in Good Shepherd sooner. It is a drive worth taking. And that's a parent that drives their child from Anzac every day to be at our school. And that feeds into our school insurance plan. Our theme this year is shining our light, and like a lighthouse, to keep the mariners safe, bring them to shore. Shining our light, the theme this year is how can we help somebody else in our school community? How can we help shine our light, give ourselves to serve? So our insurance plan is broken up into 4 big areas. I don't have all the fancy arrow things, but just so you know, the first one is we're data-driven instruction. And what that is developing a sustainable process for taking the results, seeing collaboratively as teachers what we can do to improve our instructional practices. So it's not just doing it once, it's building the system that can go year after year after year. Truth and reconciliation is increasing the understanding of staff and students to learn about the truth of residential schools and take steps towards reconciliation, and faith development to create opportunities for faith, and our social emotional learning. Now each one of these we'll talk a little bit about, give you a little bit of details, but I'll try not to drag it out too much here. Basically, outcome 1, literacy and numeracy, is that data-driven instruction. That is our drive we're taking. That's what the teachers know. When we talk about a drive we're taking, this is what we're talking about. We're talking about working as a cohort, not a class, not a singular teacher. Break down the walls. Each grade level works as a cohort to say, how do we, in this grade level, feed up to the next grade level? Our goal is 75% of our students have achieved proficient writing level by grade 6, and to collect a full year of numeracy data using the MIPI for grade 2 to 6. Now, those are what we've done already. We've already tested their math, we've tested their language skills. Trustee, your question about what are we seeing? We're seeing that grade 2 and 3 are having some language skills, phonetic skills that we're trying to shore up. And that is and here's the next, there's some, hands-on working, having smiles at Good Shepherd, taking the drive we're taking. Truth and reconciliation.
And I'm going to continue with this. This has been a real special project that I got to lead this year. As a staff at the beginning of the year, we together decided that this is where we wanted to focus the heart of the year, the beginning of the school year. So we did our professional development as a district in August, and then we met afterwards and we decided that we need to do more. And we know that Orange Shirt Day was coming, and again, we didn't want it to just be Orange Shirt Day. So we talked about how we were going to learn the truth, but also teach our students and our parents so that when it came eventually to Orange Shirt Day, that everybody understood what it meant, that it wasn't just wearing an orange shirt. So as a staff, we decided to have after-school meetings every single Wednesday. We took the pledge, the Regional Municipality of Buffalo pledge, and we made it voluntary. We opened it up to all of our EAs and our support staff and our teaching staff. And everybody took the pledge, and everybody got their picture taken. The first thing we asked them to do, of course, was to hang it by their door, and they did that. Then we asked everybody to meet after school and get a photo under. We have a really quite large banner in our gym. We all took a picture together. And then Sheldon and Miss Yvette, our Indigenous liaison, and I met weekly then to decide how to move forward with this. And so every single Wednesday after school, our staff voluntarily came together. We did put together an agenda. We did want to get something moving forward within the school. But one thing that was important to us was that we're going to plan, but what are the students going to get out of us meeting every Wednesday after school? And that was really important to Miss Yvette and Sheldon and I. So the first thing we did, and I'll just do one example because the first thing we did is we talked about every single morning on the announcements, I read the acknowledgement. And so what a teachable moment we can have if we actually just stop at the end of announcements and say, you know what, do you know why we do this? And so we printed off a picture of Treaty 8. We gave it to every single teacher. We printed off the regional map that was on the municipality website, and we gave it to every single teacher. And they have it in their wall, and that was their first assignment, I suppose. So Miss Yvette, our Indigenous liaison, she spoke to everything, and then the teachers then had a challenge of going to take that one step further, have the conversation. Talk about, you know, have you ever gone to visit any of these regions? Do you go to any special events? Do you have a family member that lives there? And so just open up the conversation, begin there. We continued to meet every week, and we did follow the municipality, but some of it didn't really connect with what we were doing in the building, so we changed it quite often. It became a place where everybody got there after school and everybody's shoulders dropped. It was just so nice. We all got together, and it was, when we left, we all felt better. We felt relaxed, we were connected, and we were doing something that everybody felt that was really meaningful and impactful, and that they could use all the time without me giving them websites to go on. It was just talking about what was happening and how we can change it in our school community.
The dialogue is with us as a team of learners. We're really like just learning, and the information and stuff that I did not know was a relief to finally learn it and to finally understand a different perspective from what we were told or not told growing up. So the whole group was always, every Wednesday afternoon we learned something new, and it was so rewarding, and we discussed perspective, and it was very rich.
And so we, of course, went into our liturgy, and I'll connect that to our faith piece afterwards. But we have continued this. We still meet now just once a month. We're completed with the challenge. We did give out the gift bags to all of our staff, and we've also been interviewed by the regional municipality. Good Shepherd will be featured in December newsletter, and the Indigenous director will be coming to our school next week too. He's so interested. They had a team staff meeting about Good Shepherd School and all the work we've been doing with our staff, and how it's really just been the who and the why of Good Shepherd for the beginning of this school year. It's been really special. So the director will be here next month, so that will be very nice as well. To continue on this journey, we've decided to really dig deep into the 7 teachings. And so November, we met last week. So now we're moving our meetings just to once, one every first Tuesday of every month. And we review each teaching, and then myself and Miss Yvette prepare lessons, and then the teachers can, start as a starting point and then take it to wherever it suits their classroom needs. We've also started with the Virtue awards. So included in our leadership awards every month, we'll be doing a Virtue of the sacred teachings. And so this month will be the respect, and the award is at Buffalo. That one student from Div 1 and one student from Div 2 and then one student from ECS will each receive a Buffalo. How they get that is they get a little ticket that they were practicing respect, and we do draw.
It was really important for us to spend time when you get all the sacred teachers. We didn't want to roll it out too quick. We learned through 7 Habits that you roll out things slow and steady, and we didn't want to link the 7 Habits to the 7 sacred teachings. We wanted to understand the sacred teachings better, so we are going to spend time each month going through it.
Yeah, thank you. So this is a photo of our team. The grade 1s created the backdrop there with the orange shirts, and this photo was taken after one of our Wednesday meetings. We decided it was the day before the National Reconciliation Day, so we did decide instead of meeting to go outside and do prayer and a smudging. and it was right after school. The school community was there watching, and they took the picture for us, actually.
Yeah, the families were there getting ready to get on the bus and get ready to go. This was the day before National Truth and Reconciliation Day, and it was just so solid, so strong to have every staff member there and have that experience.
And moving forward with our faith piece, again, our school theme is Shine Your Light. So this is from our September liturgy. We couldn't be together, so the students, go and pick up each other's lights in the hallway. We had flashlights, and so it was a really nice kickoff. But we want to always create opportunities to include our faith in the learning process, and we're doing that as well with our Truth and Reconciliation Path. Our daily prayer, every week we make sure we include different prayers and some indigenous prayers as well. I just want to highlight this because this is actually a photo of our Orange Shirt Day, our Truth and Reconciliation liturgy. What we did is we had a teepee on our school grounds, and unfortunately it was damaged, and so we had to take it apart, but we didn't want to waste it. So Miss Yvette, our Indigenous liaison, cut up little pieces, and each student in the whole school created their own piece and painted for the Orange Shirt Day. And then what we did is we had all the students, so it was really cool because they actually got to physically put something down and witness something happening instead of just watching the screen, and I think that was incredibly impactful. They all lined up and slowly put down their piece of canvas, and then Miss Yvette came behind and smudged all the canvas. You could hear a pin drop in that gym. The students knew exactly what was happening in the meaning of it, and that was our goal as a staff, that come that liturgy, they were going to know exactly why we're doing this.
The last piece, the last one, is social emotional learning, and that is a lot of what we do with our Leader in Me program. Every student in the school has classroom jobs or classroom roles and school-based roles, and it allows our students to feel more involved in the school, especially students that are new to our school community. We had one mom bring her family back that moved to St. Paul, Spruce Grove, and they came back to visit us the other day, and she said to us, you guys don't really know how special your school is. And it really hit us, because it's us every day. This is what we do. She said, we hunted for a Leader in Me school, a Catholic school, a community school that matches what you do at Good Shepherd. We couldn't do it. And they came up for the weekend. They came in because their kids just wanted to see our school again and see their teachers again. So we have targeted supports, but we also have the Leader in Me program that helps guide us from a universal support point of view. And the last slide just shows some of our crew. These guys are our crosswalk team. They go out every morning, and this makes sure everyone's safe coming across our crosswalk. We have a new crosswalk that was done thanks to the district. We did an analysis of our safety. There was an issue that was identified. The district came in and built us a new crosswalk. Now these guys are in charge of keeping the kids safe each and every day when they get off the bus. And here is just a last faith shot. This is ourselves at the end of the Remembrance Day ceremony. We're lowering the flag, getting ready to go on our break. And this is our Apple team, social emotional learning groups. Sometimes the best way to form groups is have purpose. So if you give them a job in the school, it helps the apple baskets go out every day. And I think that's all I have to say about that. So if there's any questions, I'm sure you guys don't have any.
I think just comments, maybe I like that how you getting the kids together to do things. I don't know if that's common, but I think that's.
Kelsey, sir, I actually didn't probably talk to that about a bunch, but every student, we have JAG Pride teams, and on one Thursday a month, we come together in those teams, and they work together as a team to solve a school issue. We have a communications team, a safety team, an events team, a public relations
Wellness team.
a wellness team, and the students are involved. The other thing we do when we do wigs or set our wigs, the students have a role in determining what their celebration is going to be. So they also know what they're going to achieve, but how they're going to celebrate it. Because we're starting with the end in mind, how they're going to get their goal. And one of the best things to help them get their goal is have them have a role in what they're going to do and what they're going to decide. So yeah, as a Leader in Me Lighthouse School means that we've been reviewed by the Covey Leader in Me group, and we're at a level that's sustainable, which means if something happens to me or something happens to a few members of the staff, the school can continue to function because there's systems in place. And that's how we do everything. We put a system in place to make the change, then the change is sustainable. Instead of trying to roll a rock uphill, it's rolling a snowball downhill that gets bigger and better and bigger and better as it goes down the hill. So and the other thing, every Monday after school, we meet with our Lighthouse team, and that is a team of 7 teachers that voluntarily come every Monday after school, and we discuss school issues, school events, Leader in Me goals. Thank you for your question. No, I didn't type anything, but I'm sure I could type something to you and send it. I didn't know that was part of the assignment today.
I don't know what you just said because you didn't use any fancy arrows, so.
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding.
I'm so sorry.
Bye, Anthony.
Good night.
Safe night.
Here's what I love everything about that is so many things. The Truth and Reconciliation Commission report is complicated, and the calls to action are complicated. It's not easy to find ways to go from that call to action to actually what can we do on an individual or a systems or an organizational level or a personal level, because it seems really big. But you've done that, and I really I just really am so grateful for that. How do you envision what you're doing today and this year around that? Also sort of taking on that lighthouse formation and being sustainable in that kind of like infusion that everything you do sort of looks through that lens of truth and reconciliation along with our Catholic values, and which we already do, but tell me about that.
If I think I'm understanding your question, and if I'm not, you can reframe it in smaller words if you want. No, one of the things, Elaine Marshall is been at our school for 30 years. Get inspiration from her every day. And her favorite slogan is slow and steady wins the race. And that's kind of the mantra of Good Shepherd from a staff perspective. Let's do something really deep, but well. And if you do these things really well, it forms meaning and purpose. When we discussed our insurance plan, we did it as a team and decided here are the bullet points that are going on this slide today. We knew them last year and refined them this year, the start of the year. So the question is, will it be sustainable? Is when it's built as a team with purpose and from the heart. When people stood up in our staff meeting and said, we gotta do better, we gotta know, and how are we gonna do this incrementally? It's gonna be sustainable. Like the 7 teachings now, it's gonna morph. We don't know how, but we know that there's that intentionality to it, and it'll keep improving as the years go on.
Fantastic. I love that we have evolved beyond awareness to, living these things.
Yeah.
Thank you.
To make them sustainable is what we have to do as leaders, and what we do as teacher leaders. And the use of teacher leaders at Good Shepherd, I don't think I've ever seen a school that has that huge asset of teacher leaders like we have. We just have a dynamic crew, And I often go into a staff meeting or a meeting and I have an idea of where it should go, but I never end up there. I always end up somewhere better, because when we synergize as a group and a team, we always find a third way, and it always turns out to be, I'm like, I wish I thought of that, but then I realize I have some limitations in life. But the synergies of the team is always better than one or two people.
Sorry, can you repeat your question?
Yes, you may.
Do you find it a challenge, and I think I know the answer, but to intention, does it come naturally, or do you have to be very conscious about making the connection between the 7 sacred teachings, our Catholic values, and like, does that just come? Tell me about your...
We haven't refined that yet. I think we're going to explore that, because we don't know the 7 sacred teachings deep enough
Right.
to link it. And we purposely, Joanne and I talked about this to nausea probably, and nausea being me talking, but you know, we felt like we were going to link them. There's natural, oh, there's 7 habits, there's 7 sacred teachings, let's link them. But to be fair, we spent so much time learning each habit.
Mm-hmm.
We thought it would be an injustice if we didn't truly understand the 7 sacred teachings before we try to link them.
Yeah, and it was actually our indigenous liaison. She too sat with us and we kind of grappled over this because we were trying to link the 7 sacred teachings to the 7 habits and trying to match, like literally, you know, it just wasn't working. And then she's like,
I think it's just like...
She's like, we really can't do that. So it was Miss Yvette as well. She's been crucial in this whole journey. She's been so open to her and everything we've done.
The power of this didn't strike me until late last year. We were doing the orange shirts out on the grass, and the students were grabbing their families and grabbing their parents. I didn't believe in myself and believe in the school systems enough until that day, where when we can facilitate those youth learners to be youth leaders and exchange the dialogue they were having between themselves and their parents was so rich. It brought me to tears. I came in afterwards and I said, wow, it was just so moving. We had all the little orange shirts all over our front lawn, and the kids would come and show their parents their shirt. It was great.
I can appreciate that answer, because you could easily throw something together, right, to link them. 7 habits, you could probably get away with it, right? But your response was good in the sense that, you know, we don't understand it completely, but we're working towards it, right?
Yeah.
We want to provide the best, right? So not just throwing it together and saying this is what we're doing. It's like, no, we're going to wait on it, and we're going to provide something that's quality before just throwing something out there. So I can genuinely appreciate that. And, you know, sitting here from a different lens now, I can genuinely appreciate and commend you guys for what you're doing. You both in your school. I wish I said that in the last presentation as well, but just seeing what you're doing to make these things happen in our schools is great to see, and I commend you both for it. So thank you.
Thank you. And we would allow, because of the restrictions, we would normally bring the kids in, so you would see that the youth leaders do this speech better than us, because they would have better slides because they can work a PowerPoint, right? So
They'd probably have some arrows.
yeah, arrows. Everyone's got arrows. I didn't know that was part of the
Having the buy-in is key, though. Right? I worked in youth ministry, and the only way to make it function was to give kids a purpose, right, to be there and want to be there. And then when you got children involved, like you do with the crosswalk scenario, and you put some onus on them to say, hey, this is yours.
Yeah.
You got to own it. All of a sudden, they just amaze you, because they really take that to heart. So that's great to see.
And they check their schedule often. They come in and look and see what schedule they're on, and they know which day, which time, and
cool.
yeah, they're very responsible.
Thank you very much for all the work you guys do on our behalfs and representing our students and representing us. I know you guys do a lot of work, and it's endless battle to advocate for us in Catholic education, so I appreciate you guys taking those chairs as well. God bless you.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I would like
not
to
releasing
accept
it.
it. No.
That's
I have to get the final word in.
Sorry, Madam
I just
Chair.
wanted to say, as I listened to your presentation, so first of all, I appreciate the passion, that you show in your leadership, and as I was listening to you, what really struck me was how seamless the Leader in Me program has become, and yet it's like it's just. I mean, I don't think you recognize how often you use the key words in the 7 habits, and I could hear them popping out. But I also appreciate the fact that you recognize that there's always something to be learned, right? And that you're putting in the work. You're putting in the work that we are hoping that we can have, in all of our schools and throughout our district and around our table with respect to truth and reconciliation. And can you just speak to the path? You mentioned the path. Truth and reconciliation path?
So just really our pathway, our journey to meeting our assurance goals, to making sure that we are doing something that's meaningful and impactful, and that we can carry it forward, sustainability every year.
I think the piece to that is Leader in Me is not a class, religion is not a class, truth and reconciliation is not a class. It's a path that we're on together. It's a journey that we're taking and working together on. So it's but the structure in which not me lead, that we as our team at Good Shepherd lead the school with, is that synergize, that Leader in Me model that we use for creating all our goals, creating our cohort goals, our teacher goals, and our school-wide goals that roll up into the goals of our insurance plan. So it is seamless because it's just what we do.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, there's no I in team, and it's very apparent that you guys are living that every day. So, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for staying so late this evening. We
I'm just glad I got
recognize
to
it's
listen
been a
to
long
Keith.
day.
You're good moral support for your buddy.
Thank you. And we will now, I'll put the floor back to you, please, Superintendent McGuigan, for item number 9, board updates.
Thank you, Madam Chair. First up, 9.1, just a quick COVID update for you. To this point in the school year, our schools continue to do quite well considering everything that we've been going through in the last couple of years. I would say relatively well. We've had isolated cases in our schools across the division. Nothing rampant. We've had one of our schools, or one of the classes, they had 3 cases inside a 5-day period, so we had to move that class to at-home learning. They're back in today, so that's good. And only one of our schools at this point in time is been classified as an outbreak school, and that's when you have 10 or more cases inside an individual school. And so we expect that they will come off outbreak sometime later this month. So I really just want to thank our staff and all the schools for what they continue to do each and every day in the midst of this crisis we're in, and the perseverance that they show, and especially to thank our parents for their support and their understanding. They've been exceptional, letting us know when a child or someone has tested positive, and letting the school know right away. So it enables us to action what we need to do to inform all our parents, and we know that we believe that we have a moral obligation to do that and not wait for someone from AHS to tell us. So we're always ahead of that curve, and we continue to do so, and we're only able to do it because of the support of our parents. So we thank them very much.
Thank you. And I'll let you continue on to 9.2.
Okay, certainly. 9.2, Madam Chair, is our literacy funding. The government has, at the first of this year, had set aside funding for every school division of the province to submit and do assessments, and then they decided on a dollar amount to give every school division to work on the gaps that existed in our learning and our students, especially in our primary grades. So our school division, through the great work of our curriculum team and the schools, through all their assessments, we have $313,110 to spend on our grades 2 and 3 students. So we've received the money, and now we're busy developing our plan that we're going to put in place starting in January. So we're developing that plan and getting everything together that we want to be able to do, and that will provide 12 weeks or so of intense work in literacy and numeracy for the students in grades 2 to 3. And in January then we will then begin our assessments with our current grade 1 students and getting them ready. And again, the government will be providing funding to us based on our need across the province. They will come up with a dollar amount again, just like the 2s and 3s. And in the last 3 months of the school year, April to June, we'll be doing the same thing. And so our goal certainly at the end of the year is that we've been able to close some gaps in those students in the primary levels. So we're looking forward to getting that going. And I thank our curriculum team of Danielle Matsko, Matt Campbell, Valerie Dick, our Deputy Superintendent Natasha MacArthur-Poole, and the great work and the work in our staff in the schools, getting that all prepared. So it's a big task, but it's a task that our staff are only too happy to do because they know it's for the students, it's going to make them better.
Next up is item 12.2, the Alberta School Board Association Trustee Report. And I would ask Trustee Galanzowski to speak to that.
Okay, so the ASBA Zone 2-3 meeting was last week, and the first meeting since the election, so we have a lot of new trustees and a lot of returning. We also had a new executive voted in with the ASBA at the ASBA Zone meeting. We really don't have a whole lot to update since it was a changeover in executive and new advisory committee members. So what's happening now is ASBA fall general meeting yesterday, today, and tomorrow. So we're in the middle of that. And ASBA as a whole also has a new executive that will be sworn in tomorrow. So more fun details to follow from the next meetings as everybody finds their footing and gets going. Thank you.
Thank you. We move now to 12.3, which is the Collaboration of Catholic School Council Trustee Report. And Trustee Hitchin, could you speak to the fact that
I am the board representative for the Collaboration of Catholic School Councils, and Trustee Jami is the alternate. We have our first meeting to attend this Monday, the 22nd. So on our next board meeting together on the 13th of December, we will have a report for you.
Excellent, thank you very much. Well reported on. And with that, again, I would just like to close 12.4. Our next regular board meeting is scheduled for Monday, December 13th, 2021 at 7 p.m. I would just like to close by reminding everyone that we have an excellent resources for mental health and wellness on our website, and we, as always, urge our families, teachers, and students to please utilize those resources as needed as we continue to navigate through the pandemic. And we cannot stress enough how much we appreciate the hours and sweat and tears that are put in by all of our staff and our teachers, our school staff, maintenance staff, and so on, in helping to ensure that our students are kept as safe and healthy and mentally well as we move forward. So thank you all for your attendance, and I would ask for a trustee to adjourn us.
Inside the meeting?
Pardon
Do
me?
we have the in-camera stuff?
No, that's not.
No.
And do we go in, no, I know,
To
do
adjourn
we
the
go
meeting
in
first.
Hmm? Okay, go ahead.
I'll move to adjourn the meeting.
Thank you, and so all in favor? That one always goes well, thank you. So moved.